Ellie this week.
National Night Out, America's Night Out Against Crime, was introduced by the National Association of Town Watch in 1984. Changes in crime patterns could be transforming one of the most troubled and dangerous areas in L.A. Watts and its 3 public housing developments have seen violent crime and homicides hit record lows. So what is making the difference? We bring you this special report from Watts. Screams of joy and victory echo through Imperial Courts. Cynthia Mendenhall, known as Sister Soldier of Watts, has just helped her 17-year-old neighbor get out of gangs and into a private school.
Oh, yeah? I snatched him so the devil couldn't be mad at me. I snatched him away from the gang. I snatched him away, and I feel good in my soul. He got hope.
For Sister Soldier, peace and violence live side by side. She is a community activist, a gang interventionist, and a former gang member. She lost 2 of her own sons on these streets.
It's time for us to take community back. Not the politicians, not LAPD. The community to make a stand and fight for the kids and the youth in this community. And we are suffering here.
There's 2 more kids to save now, her grandsons who lost their fathers.
I love my granny because she do so much for us. I feel good.
Why?
Because I'm with my granny.
But something is changing in Watts and its 3 major public housing developments. Nickerson Gardens, Imperial Courts, and Jordan Downs, long a hotbed of drugs, gangs, and all-out war with police, are seeing violent crime plummet.
In Jordan Downs, violent crime went down in 2012 53%. In Nickerson Gardens, 72%, and Imperial Courts, 75%.
The 3 projects have had only 1 murder in 2 years, where before they used to average 7 each year. Residents are now talking to cops. Both sides share information when crimes happen.
Some of these developments, you couldn't even come inside of them, especially at nighttime. If you did come in, you had to come in with several units.
But now they have us out there each day. You have 10 officers out there doing foot beats. They have somebody to go to. The officers have created a rapport with the community.
So what's made the difference? For one thing, the Community Safety Partnership, a joint effort by police, city leaders, residents, and the Housing Authority of the City of L.A. It uses residents as gang interventionists and peacemakers. It puts 10 extra LAPD officers in each of the 3 projects.
I call it relationship-based policing, because the whole idea is that people will react and support you when they trust you. They will trust you if they get to know you and if you treat them respectfully.
We have a safer Watts. Watts has not been safe, this safe in decades.
Friday night, the LAPD's Community Safety Partnership cops are in the house for the Summer Night Lights program, an anti-gang initiative that keeps rec centers open on summer nights to keep kids out of trouble.
That's our goal for these kids. That was Dr. King's dream, and he didn't die for our kids to be dying in the street like dogs.
This bicultural party at Nickerson Gardens brings both blacks and Latinos together in a community where the black and brown divide often leaves a gaping hole. But not tonight.
It's changing slowly but surely.
Not all Watts neighborhoods are doing so well. In nearby Gonzac Village, instead of a party, there's a memorial in the dark.
It's one of the smaller developments that we have here in the Southeast, yet it's one of the most violent. In the last couple of weeks, they had 4 shootings inside of here.
Watts is an area where most homes and businesses go in lockdown mode after dark, and metal bars grace doors and windows. While some of the projects may be getting safer for residents, for outsiders, they are still forbidden zones. People run transactions in the dark, then disappear when they see the unmarked police car and the camera. It's been a quiet night in Watts, but police say they never take that for granted, because even when it's quiet, trouble can suddenly break out. A report of a shooting brings patrol cars out. Later, a resident complains about a suspect with a gun, which leads to a police chase and an arrest.
The same location he was running off. It's going to be on
the east-west alley, just
By Watts standards, a peaceful night. Nighttime or daytime, success here is measured in the little things. A night mostly free of crime, young girls playing in their yard in broad daylight, the small signs of the saving of a neighborhood, one child at a time. But it will take more than anti-crime measures to rebuild Watts. Join us again next week when we bring you the second part of our series, Watts, Fighting for Peace. Also in South LA, a town hall meeting at a local high school that gave young people a chance to talk about gun violence in their neighborhoods. The jury verdict over the Trayvon Martin shooting death inspired the discussion. As Gil Reyes reports, LA's mayor and city attorney were there to listen.
How many of you know somebody who's been shot with a gun? Really?
Almost everyone in the room raises their hand. Though crime overall is down citywide, gun violence remains a hot topic among teens and young adults in South LA. But resident Daphne Antoine says guns are not the problem.
It's more about race relations and mental illness.
That conversation taking place here at the Dorsey High School gym, where city leaders urged young people to keep their dialogue going so that people won't forget their concerns.
To be at your age now is to take responsibility now. Is to stand up and not allow a conversation that really matters in your neighborhood to go to the side.
I want this to be youth-led. Because if you look at history, whether it's civil rights, whether it was the American Revolution, whether it was those moments in history when we've demanded equality, guess what? It hasn't been us that has led it. It's been young people.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti and City Attorney Mike Feuer both agreed with Daphne that serious dialogue about race relations is needed to further curb gun and gang violence. But City Attorney Feuer says gun control laws he's championed also play an important role. After breaking into groups, South LA resident Emilio Lax offers a different approach to crime fighting. He wants fewer LAPD officers and more gang intervention workers in his neighborhood.
Especially in South LA, the communities are highly over-policed, and we want to replace police officers with intervention workers because those people know the community better, they understand the conditions.
Part of the ongoing dialogue about keeping the peace in South LA. At Dorsey High School, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
City Attorney Mike Feuer also encourages young people to contact his office with further suggestions. Ventura Boulevard in the San Fernando Valley is about to get a makeover. Cindy San Luis reports on Operation Street Lift.
There's nothing like a boulevard. A boulevard brings life to people. This is one of the greatest commercial centers in our city, a neighborhood center.
And with Ventura Boulevard Operation Street Lift, this heavily traveled road is getting a necessary makeover, beautifying a 1.1-mile stretch of Ventura from the 405 to Van Nuys Boulevard.
The first thing that people feel in the city of Los Angeles is our infrastructure. When you step out of your home, whether it is public transportation, private transportation, a pedestrian walking, a cyclist on your bicycle, it's our streets and our roads.
The repairs to Ventura Boulevard will include 3 components: tree trimming, concrete bus pads, and street resurfacing. Street resurfacing will take approximately 2 weeks to finish and will be conducted entirely at night so as to avoid disruption and to support local businesses.
This is a great example of practical solutions to some of the biggest challenges that we have in our city, and I'm very proud of the Department of Public Works and Street Services to come about and address these issues holistically and to make LA a business-friendly environment.
The idea really is to revitalize a major retail corridor, heavy pedestrian use, and we want to really reproduce this effort in all parts of the city.
In all, 219 trees have been trimmed across Ventura Boulevard, and 35 new trees will be planted. The concrete bus pads at all Metro bus stops have been replaced, extending the life of the streets where they will see the heaviest use.
This has been an amazing amount of work done in response to, I think, our community's wishes and requests.
From Sherman Oaks, I'm Cindy San Luis for LA This Week.
Parking will be restricted on Ventura Boulevard from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. nightly while the work is being done. Well, some of LA's public housing projects are joining the digital age on a massive scale. A new pilot program brings free Wi-Fi and new computers to 2 housing developments on a trial basis. Here's that story. The kids at Mar Vista Gardens are taking a leap into cyberspace together as the Smart Housing Pilot Program hooks them up to Wi-Fi. It's a first-of-its-kind pilot project anywhere in the U.S., providing free Wi-Fi, affordable computers, and computer literacy training to residents in LA's public housing developments. Many of them have little access to new technology.
They're planning on bringing a truck every week or so and offering training to both adults and kids.
The pilot project covers Mar Vista Gardens housing and will be introduced on a smaller scale at the Jordan Downs housing development. It's a must, providers say, for anyone living in the computer age.
We're connected all the time. We can do email, we can learn online, we can pay bills online, we can get health information.
So I'll use it, I can expect myself to use it every day, with homework, schoolwork, research, job search, filling out applications, things of that sort, yeah.
Who knows, maybe this 92-year-old grandma will join Facebook.
Creo que es muy, muy importante, sobre todo para nuestros nietos, nuestros hijos.
There's a little check and a big check to hand over for $300,000. The California Emerging Technology Fund has provided the money for the pilot project, but it will need a lot more cash to continue the program. Several funding bills are now making their way through the state legislature. Those state bills needed to expand the program are Assembly Bill 1299 and Senate Bill 740. The city's first Latina council member is sworn in. Bookworms now have a new way to read at the LA Public Library, and the city reacts to the boardwalk tragedy in Venice Beach. These stories on City Beat. Nuri Martinez was officially sworn in as council member of the 6th District at a recent city council meeting at Van Nuys City Hall. Martinez is currently the only female elected official in the city and the second Latina elected official in history.
Gentlemen, all of you have women in your districts that are doing great community work, that have been working behind the scenes in your campaigns, that are doing tremendous work in all the respective districts that you represent. We have to do more and we have to do better by electing more women to elected office in the city of Los Angeles and up and down this state.
The Los Angeles Public Library is offering a new online service. Now you can borrow digital copies of your favorite magazine for free from the library's website. You can access more than 230 popular publications using your Los Angeles Public Library card and smartphone, tablet, or personal computer. The service is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And unlike print format magazines, digital magazines don't need to be returned to the library and are never overdue. To take advantage of this new service, just visit the library's website, lapl.org. In the wake of the recent rampage on the Venice Boardwalk, 11th District Council member Mike Bonin submitted a motion to the City Council calling for the completion of a public safety needs assessment and for the restriction of non-essential vehicles in the most hazardous intersections on the boardwalk.
Today, I'm asking that we immediately direct LAPD, LAFD, Recreation and Parks, Street Services, DOT, CAO, and CLA to work with me, the Mayor's Office, and the City Attorney's Office on an immediate Venice Beach public safety needs assessment and report their findings within 2 weeks.
This motion instructs relevant departments to report back within 14 days. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti is planning a high-tech revolution in Exposition Park and the surrounding areas. As Gil Reyes reports, the mayor mentions his blueprint at a recent computer conference.
Speaking to techies in downtown Los Angeles, Mayor Eric Garcetti spoke of lessons learned during his 12 years on the LA City Council, representing Echo Park and surrounding areas.
It was this realization that if we don't keep up with the multiplicity of media that people use, we won't do our job well.
The mayor speaking at the first annual DreamCon convention, where business owners learn search engine marketing and other techniques for the tech savvy. Lessons the mayor wants sports as part of the curriculum at all LA area high schools. One of his goals is to create tech communities similar to Silicon Beach in other parts of the city, South Los Angeles in particular.
Of teaching computer coding in the high school, in the classroom, not just in the well-off neighborhoods, but in our poorest neighborhoods, to create things like Silicon South and South LA. As we build a new subway line where land is cheap, I want businesses to think about, hey, I can get coders coming straight out of high school, Crenshaw High School, hire them, and have a subway that connects me to the Expo line, which immediately takes me from Silicon Beach to downtown and everything in between.
Garcetti's embracing of tech innovation includes his launching of a smartphone app so constituents can report problems in their neighborhood. The self-professed high-tech mayor says tech innovation is key to creating jobs and fixing problems quickly in our city. In downtown LA, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
All of LA County's mayors under one roof? That was the idea as Mayor Eric Garcetti invited the mayors of LA County to talk about issues and challenges facing all of us in the region. We go now to that report. The man of the hour came out to welcome his VIP visitors. Mayor Eric Garcetti invited 88 mayors from cities in LA County to this get-together. More than 68 showed up, gathering under a tent behind Getty House, the mayor's official residence.
Dealing with the city of Los Angeles, I heard from so many friends in neighboring cities that we act sometimes like the 800-pound gorilla that doesn't listen. That era is over. This is your home.
There was food and a lot of handshaking going on, but this was definitely a working meeting meant to hash out the issues important to the LA region and to find ways to work together.
I never saw smog stop at a city border, traffic stop at a city border, unfortunately crime stop at a city border, and our economy is a single economy. So if we're going to figure out a way to compete globally, we have to become a stronger region.
We're looking at what different cities are doing in relation to public safety and gang reduction and youth development.
People broke up into groups to take on common issues like crime, gangs, and regional transportation.
My biggest issue is completing that 710 freeway. I'd like to see that completed before our lifetime.
Another hot topic, how to help LA County's uninsured residents take advantage of the coming Affordable Care Act. California already has a website dedicated to health coverage, www.coveredca.com.
Anybody who's earning 139 to 400% of poverty can go to an internet site and they can purchase health insurance from private issuers, and they will get tax credits to do so, to make it affordable.
This was just the beginning. Garcetti hopes to make these regional meetings a regular event. Garcetti says he will take the best of the ideas shared at the conference to help guide his own policies for the city of LA. A river expedition, singing, dancing, and exploring unfamiliar cultures, all part of what's in store in this week's edition of Things to Do.
The kayaking season on the LA River will be coming to a close on Labor Day weekend, so make your reservations now before they're all gone. This is your chance to see the LA River as never before. Remaining dates are August 18th, 22nd, and 29th. Each trip starts at 4 p.m. Check LARiverExpeditions.org for more information and availability. At 6 p.m. on Friday, it's time once again for a Friday night sing-along at the Keck Amphitheater at the Walt Disney Concert Hall. This time, it's all about movie musicals. Join in with your fellow Angelinos and belt out your favorites. Singers of all levels are welcome, and song sheets are provided. The Walt Disney Concert Hall is located at 111 South Grand Avenue in downtown. For more information, visit musiccenter.org/events. And at the Hollywood Bowl on Friday and Saturday, enjoy the Tchaikovsky Spectacular, an annual tradition with an exciting twist. Performing with the LA Philharmonic will be the brass, drum corps, and color guard of top California bands, ranked by Drum Corps International. And what Tchaikovsky Spectacular would be complete without the 1812 Overture, complete with canon and pyrotechnics. It all starts on both days at 8 p.m. The Hollywood Bowl is located at 2301 Highland Avenue in Hollywood. For more information, go to hollywoodbowl.com. This Saturday from 5 p.m. to midnight, enjoy one of the best summer parties in Los Angeles, Chinatown Summer Nights. Enjoy an evening of great music, gourmet food trucks, classic Chinatown restaurants, cultural workshops, and more. It's free for all ages. Chinatown is located in downtown Los Angeles near the cross streets of Cesar Chavez and North Broadway. For more information, go to ChinatownSummerNights.com. Saturday morning at 10 a.m. at the Ford Amphitheater, enjoy LA's unique diversity with the grace and beauty of traditional Chamorro music and dance from the Pacific island of Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands. Before the show, learn about the heroic island legends such as Serena the Mermaid and the Legend of the Coconut. The Ford Theater is located at 2580 Cahuenga Boulevard East. For more information, go to fordtheaters.org. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do.
LA's rich musical history is revealed through illustrated sheet music. Rasha Goel has this story from the LA Central Library.
Songs in the Key of LA, an exhibit now on display at the Central Library's first-floor galleries, is a rare view of the powerful role music has played in defining the image of Los Angeles and Southern California.
It highlights music about the San Fernando Valley, music about Catalina Island and Pasadena and San Pedro. It's a wonderful way to connect with the history of Southern California and the history of this amazing city.
The 46 covers on display represent a diverse LA mix of jazz, pop, Mexican folk, and blues.
The sheet music collection at the Central Library is one of the most popular special collections here, and it's used regularly, daily, by musicians, by teachers, by scholars, by middle schoolers who come in and are curious. And it's an incredibly diverse collection, and we invite Angelenos to come to the Central Library and explore this collection, search it, and make use of it because it's there for them.
According to officials, the Central Library has one of the best music libraries in the western United States.
We have over 50,000 pieces of sheet music, and in addition to that, tens of thousands of songbooks. It's just an amazing music library.
The Songs in the Key of LA exhibit is part of a larger project, which during the summer will bring sheet music to life through recordings and a free concert. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The exhibit is free to the public and open during library hours. For more information, visit www.lapl.org. And that's going to do it for this edition of LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Marcos. We want to remind you that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
foresight to plan for my business,
to plan for my future,
to plan for my family provides a peace of mind.
having the foresight to sign up for Alert LA County
Gives me that peace of mind when an incident happens close to my home
or near my park.
Alert LA County is a free automated system which sends out information about emergency events via telephone, text, and email. Events may include disasters, evacuations, and safety notices. Register at alert.lacounty.gov.
Alert LA County.
knowing when you need it most.
Need a recycling center? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
G'day, Troy McCubbin from North Hollywood. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35, our city, our channel.
Good morning. Good morning, all. Today is Wednesday, August 14th. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. The public is welcome. If you've come here to speak, there are public comment cards in the back. You fill out one of those cards and you present it to the sergeant. If you just want to see your local government in action, please just sit down and enjoy yourself. With that said, Mr. Clerk, I believe we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Corretz, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 10 members present, and a quorum. Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Martinez moves, O'Farrell seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Huizar moves and Cedillo seconds. So that brings us where?
Mr. President, before running through the agenda, there is a request from the Office of Finance to continue item 1 to August 28th, and there is a request from member to continue item 9 to September 24.
Okay, without objection, that will be the order.
Very good, sir. Items 2 through 11 are items noticed for public hearing.
Okay, do we have cards?
Yes, sir, we do. We have cards on items 6 and 10.
Okay, so let's hold those two items. Members, specials on 2 through 11. Okay, seeing none. Madam Clerk, why don't we prepare to vote on these items? Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
And, Mr. President,
yes.
Those ordinances will go over for a second read unless reconsidered later with 12 members.
Okay, I anticipate that we will have 12, and at that time we'll reconsider and vote again. Could you take us through the next section, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir. Items 12 through 18 are items for which public hearings have been held. Committee reports for items 12, 13, and 14, I am told, will be distributed momentarily, so until such time, those should be held on the desk.
And we will hold them. Okay, so members' specials, 12 through 18. Seeing none, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That brings us where, Mr. Clerk?
Items 19 through 31. They're items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before us. Mr. Cedillo.
Please. 13 forthwith, please.
Per Mr. Cedillo. No, we haven't. That's one of the ones we're holding, I believe, until we get the report out of Housing Committee. So that should be here shortly. We'll then vote on it and we'll send it forthwith. Mr. Buscaino?
We hold item 25, please.
Okay. First.
We have to consider them first?
No.
Are we good?
We're good. So per Joey B., let's hold 25.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Cards?
Yes, sir. We have cards on items 25, 26, 27, 30, and 31.
Okay, well, let's hold those items, and let's prepare to vote on the other items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay. At this time, Mr. Clerk, why don't you read the ordinances? Let's vote on reconsideration, and then we'll vote on the ordinances. All of the ones that don't have cards.
Very good, sir. At this point in time, that only leaves item 7.
Oh, that's it?
Yes, sir.
So this is what we'll do. We'll vote for reconsideration of all those items, and then on item 7, we'll move it. Okay? So the first vote is on what items?
Item 7, sir.
Let's vote for reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now let's vote on the item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now we'll vote on reconsideration on all of the ords. If you could walk us through that, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, Mr. Price actually made it into the room, fortunately, so those ords were adopted with 12 members.
All right, wonderful then. Okay, so where are we now? We're back on...
That brings us to items 32 and 33. They're items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold them on the desk?
I'll defer to Mr. Krikorian, the Chair of Budget and Finance. Or do you want to wait a few minutes, or are you ready?
Yeah, Mr. President, the Budget and Finance recommended approval of the recommendations. We can do those both in open session unless any member has a question or concern regarding them.
Okay, do we have cards on these items, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, I do believe we have cards on one of the items. However, it's my understanding that hearings were held in committee.
Okay, so we've satisfied everything.
Yes, sir.
Okay, why don't you read the ordinance, I mean not the ordinance, the items, so that we can vote on them.
Very good.
As recommended by Budget and Finance.
For item 32, in the case entitled Kiriteri Salapaga versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend $200,000 in settlement. And for item 33, in the case entitled Congregation at Haim versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend $950,000 in settlement of attorneys' fees and costs.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on those items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, where are we now, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, that takes council back to presentations.
All right. Let me first see if Mr. Buscaino is ready. In fact, you know what, Joe? Why don't you do this, and then we'll move right into your sock extravaganza. So at this time, we have Mr. Buscaino has the floor for a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd also like to call up the chair of the ITGS committee, Mr. Bob Blumenfeld, as well, to join me in this presentation. We are recognizing ITA here in the City Department, which launched the first major revision of the city's website, the first time in 15 years, lacity.org. As you know, colleagues, our website is often the first impression of Los Angeles for thousands of people around the world who visit our site every year. If we want to be a city that's innovative, forward-thinking, and business-friendly, we need a website that reinforces that message. Though always a work in progress, our new website is a huge step in the right direction. Despite a 40% reduction of staff over the past 4 years, ITA was able to accomplish this using in-house designers at minimal cost to the city. The project team worked on a part-time basis while keeping up with the support demands of over 40 websites for elected officials, the 311 system, and other duties they perform on a daily basis. And the City of Los Angeles is blessed and fortunate to have such an innovative, hard-working team managing the city's website. We're very proud of their fine work when they launched the new smart, open, and social lacity.org. And it's my honor to present the lacity.org redesign team. Let's give them a round of applause for their efforts. We're joined by project manager Madeline Paguo-Dia, Mark Wolf, and the entire team. Before I turn it over to Mark, I want to turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Bob Blumenfeld, to say a few words. Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. Thanks for bringing this forward. This is a great moment to honor this new website, this new design, and the team that put it together. This will really be the springboard that LA needs to help springboard us into the 21st century. As the chair of the ITGS committee, we had our first hearing yesterday. We're starting to look at all sorts of ways to engage all of you, not just in the website, which is the critical first phase. It's the face that everybody sees, but into taking us to the back end as well and getting Wi-Fi for the city, getting remote testimony, making the city more accessible, more transparent, and more efficient by using technology. And the way to do that is to have a great team like the team that's behind me who put together this design, because it's a team like that that's going to help springboard us into the 21st century. I'm so excited about the possibilities, what LA can become. There is an amazing vision that has been expressed so far through this design team, and that we as a council and as a city need to harness that energy and take us to the next step. So thank you guys and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield. Let's welcome Mark Wolf to say a few words on behalf of the ITA team. Thank you, Mark. Congrats.
Thank you, Councilman. Good morning, council members. Thank you, council members, for recognizing our talented ITA Web Services team that led this effort. Special thanks to Councilman Buscaino and Mayor Garcetti for their leadership and guidance with the development and launch of the new lacity.org website. An initiative like this takes a village. ITA appreciates the teamwork and support that we receive from the entire city family, helping update the content of the website and get it ready for the launch. Special thanks to ITA's Madeline Pegu, manager of ITA's Web Services team, that with her vision, tenacity, and leadership brought this to the finish line. I'd also like to personally thank the entire Web Services team, 311 staff, and other areas in ITA that worked tirelessly on an innovative and visually rich website that, as the councilman said, is smart, open, and social. Thank you again, council members, for this recognition. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. So again, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Blumenfield, for joining us. And let's give the design team one more round of applause and offer our congratulations and thanks. Thank you.
All right, congratulations. Joey B., you want to do your other one, or you want to wait till the next presentation is over?
The next one, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Come on.
So, Mr. Krikorian, are you ready, or you want to wait a bit? Okay, so we'll do a little work and wait for the second presentation. So with that, let's go to item 6, Mr. Clerk. Hey, Arnold, item 6, and I've got a card from Mr. Arnold Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs. This easement from John Gibbons in Wilmington, my only concerns regarding this is there's a park that was created along the waterfront there as far as somewhat of a barrier for the city of Wilmington and the port operations. And in the process, parking was eliminated for people to use that park. So now that you're making this easement on John Gibbons roadway, whatever it is, I'm wondering if you'll include parking for the public to be able to park, to use the park that was created for the benefit of the public. Again, without parking, there's really no way to get to the park. Keep that in mind when you create this easement, and let's see some parking spots.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Mr. O'Farrell. And Sergeants, is there another card on this item? Okay, so we'll go to Mr. O'Farrell, and then if I get the other card, I'll take it at the end. Yes.
Mr. President, just order here. I wish to reconsider item 28 and then continue it till next Friday, the 23rd, please.
Okay, so after we finish with this, we will do that. Okay, so Mr. Constituent. Item 6.
Thank you.
Good morning and welcome our new council people, Mr. Cedillo, Ms. Martinez, and the honorable staff of this council. It's good to know that we can dedicate property of interest for the public, to the public, for the public. But the concern I address today is what is accessibility when we fund a dedication without taking into consideration other streets that need priority. A priority means that there's a safety issue involved. I do not invoke you to pursue and investigate other conditions of dedicated streets, but today we petition you as a community, as the public. There is great concern on the corridor of Soto Street in East Los Angeles, other known as Boyle Heights. This corridor has been impacted for many years. And due to the consideration of this relative dedication, we see that we can conduct better business when we can improve access not for one, not for two, but for all. And I speak gently about this because it is apprehensive when you have a city who denies access, accountability, more so responsibility. And I'm sure Congress would agree with this, that we must improve our infrastructure. We must improve our streets that have barriers, impediments, and blockage on sidewalks. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, now before we move on, Mr. O'Farrell, was it item 28? Okay, so we need to vote on reconsideration for item 28. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, and it's my understanding you wanted it continued? Friday the 23rd. Mr. Clerk, you've got that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Krikorian, would you be ready to move forward? So at this point in time, the floor belongs to Paul Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. As many of you know, it's my great privilege to be the first Armenian American ever elected to these chambers. And although my family has been here in Los Angeles for 100 years, we know that this city and the surrounding area is also home to the largest population of recent Armenian immigrants in our country. And in fact, Southern California has more people of Armenian descent living here than any city outside of the capital of Armenia, Yerevan. Moscow sometimes claims that they do, but it's a healthy competition that we have. But certainly there's a vibrant, strong, and active Armenian community here, and many of those are actual nationals of Armenia who have found their way here. And the interests of that population and the government of Armenia have been served for the last several years by the Consul General of Armenia, Grigor Hovhannisyan, who's here with me today. And many of you know Consul General Hovhannissian because he has been one of the most active consuls general that Armenia has had in the many, many years that I've been working in this community. I've been through a number of consuls general, but none of them have been as active, as warm, as personable, and as engaging as Grigor Hovhannissian. Many of you know him personally. I had an opportunity to work with him both when I was in the State Assembly and here, and he has very, very ably represented the interests of our Armenian population here in Southern California and the interests of his government of Armenia. Sadly, although I'm very, very proud to be able to stand here and recognize his many achievements, I'm also sad to let you know that Consul General Hovhannissian is going to be leaving us. He has been named the ambassador of Armenia to Mexico and will soon be leaving for Mexico City. And so I wanted to take a moment to give the City Council an opportunity on behalf of all of the people of the City of Los Angeles to thank him for his service here and to bid him farewell and success in his next posting in Mexico. Consul General Grigor Hovhannissian.
Mr. President, honorable members of the Los Angeles City Council, I'm very grateful for this last opportunity to address you as I'm about to wrap up 4 years of my service in Los Angeles as Consul General. Those 4 years were marked by progress and improvement in the relations and a strengthening friendship between Los Angeles and Armenia and its capital city, which happens to be a sister city to Los Angeles. And I thank you and past members of this council for their contribution to this remarkable progress. In the last 4 years, there were highlights. Some of them I would like to mention now. We celebrated jointly with you in this very building the 20th anniversary of Armenia's independence, joined by Governor Brown and President of Armenia, Serge Sarkisyan. We greeted, thanks to this council, the President of the Republic of Artsakh, the Second Armenian Republic, was recognized in this council, and the historic capital of Artsakh, Shushi, was declared as a friendship city to Los Angeles. This council, among with many other elected officials and Angelinos, have been champions in educating about the Armenian genocide in the global campaign. This is particularly important on the eve of the centennial of the Armenian genocide that will be commemorated in 2015. Well, I salute you and through you all the Angelinos who come together, who represent hundreds of backgrounds, cultures and languages, to come together and create one of the most vibrant and dynamic cities in the world, a role model in many, many ways, and I wish you all continued progress, success, prosperity and peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No, thank you very much. Come on, let's give him a better round of applause.
Thank you, Mr. Consul General, for your great service to this city and the people of Southern California. And on behalf of the people of Los Angeles, I'd like to present you with this resolution, thanking you for your service and wishing you much continued success in your service of the government of Armenia in Mexico. Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move to item 10, called special by Mr. Sachs. Arno, I don't see. Yeah, Mr. Sachs, please come forward on item 10. Hold his time.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. Again, with this item, you're requesting an easement for sidewalks. And so I refer back to the Transportation Committee meeting from April 10, 2013, where the LAD, and this is item number 12-11297-S3, the LADOT report relative to establishing regulatory requirements for installing bicycle sharing infrastructure in the public right-of-way, parentheses, sidewalks. So again, I ask, why doesn't the council use the term right-of-way for sidewalks? Why go back and forth? And then I refer to this story in the LA Times, and I don't really have the date, but it's right after the tragedy at Venice, and it mentions an article from Steve Lopez, and they interview somebody from Paul Koretz's office, and the story mentions the city stopped complete repair of sidewalks roughly 3 years ago. Came the reply, which nevertheless promised to try to get attention to this area. So they stop repairs, you have right of way, and it's a legal precedent here. It's always legal, so if you fall on the sidewalk and you sue for the sidewalk, it's not necessarily the right of way. It's important because this is how you nickel and dime the public. We have lots of funding for sidewalk repair, but if it's technically the right of way, then it's not going for sidewalk repair. It should be going for the right of way. And again, it comes down to the technicalities. You're so open and transparent, at least we hear that all the time. Use the correct phraseology for the correct moment. If your items in your agendas for your committee meetings call it the right of way, then follow through on your agendas for the committees that are heard in the public, in the council chambers. Don't do it.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, 1 minute, and I'll be right with you, Mr.
And Mr. President, if I may, committee reports for items 12 and 14 have now been circulated and are before council for consideration.
Okay, we're going to go to item 14. Mr. Clerk, I believe proper documents have been circulated.
Yes, sir, they have.
Okay, so let's prepare to vote on item 14. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, now for a very special announcement, I want to defer to Joe Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. As colleagues today, as we know here amongst us is Crazy Socks Day here at Council Chambers, inspired by our Council President, Herb Wesson. He gave us a gift on July 3rd, was it? On July 2nd. And now it's his gift gives us the motivation to help others across the city of Los Angeles to pay it forward to those who are in need in our respective communities. So in addition to being Crazy Sock Day, we are launching this effort, Sock Drive, across the city. And many established charities will, across the city will be able to help, specifically the Downtown Mission as well. And for those of you who wore your Crazy Socks, we'd like to ask Mr. President to come take a photo with and allow us to launch our sock drive across the city. I know we're approaching the fall and winter months, so we do know those in need are going to benefit from our efforts today. And it's going to be a 2-week drive from August 14th to August 28th. And we ask your respective offices to use the social media to promote this. Use your district offices as collection sites to help those, again, in need. So with that, Mr. President, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, no, I'll just come down to wherever you want me to come. Fantastic. And I would imagine other members who are participating. Or,
come on, show your socks. All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyway, members, I really want to thank you for participating in Crazy Sock Day. And Mr. Buscaino, to kick off your sock drive, I have 150 pair of socks that are the warm white socks to kind of open it up for the council, hoping that everybody on the council will at least do that many or more. So at least you've got a good start, and I hope everybody takes this seriously. Even though we did have fun with the socks, it's for a very worthy cause. And Mitch O'Farrell, everybody should know, Mitch O'Farrell had on Superman socks. Superman socks. Again, we want to thank Member Buscaino. But now we'll go to item 12. Mr. Cedillo, item 12, I have one card. So I would recommend that we call up the public speaker first, and then I will turn it over to you. So I have John Walsh, and then I have Mr. Constituent on item 12. So please come forward.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or go to J. Walsh Confidential. This concerns Ms. Ty Glenn for the Rent Adjustment Commission. We haven't heard anything about her, so anything negative about her. So we're in favor of Ms. Ty Glenn. HollywoodHighlands.org is officially in favor of her. And from now on, today's meeting, I will be barefoot when I speak, because that is what I think of crazy socks.
Let's stay on the subject. Okay, Mr. Constituent. Mr. Constituent, please come forward. I have a card from you on item 12.
It's Mr. Herman, Mr. Wesson. Thank you. I was looking forward for a way to say congratulations at this point, but I'll hold that back and reserve my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Cedillo, we defer to you.
Yes, Mr. President, we have a motion to approve and confirm as the mayor's appointment. That is his authority. We heard from the appointee, and I think it'd be appropriate for us to hear from her now to take questions from the broader community. She has a rich background in the area. Questions were raised with respect to having a balanced membership of the board, the Rent Stabilization, the Rent Adjustment Commission for the city. And those concerns were raised, and questions were raised with respect to her capacity to adjudicate fairly and balanced. She represented herself well. Her record speaks for itself, and I think it's appropriate for us to hear from her now to demonstrate the basis for our support for the mayor's appointment. Please.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, council members, so much for having me here today. I just want to say that it's an honor to be considered to be a member of the Rent Adjustment Commission, such an important commission in the city, and that since I arrived in Los Angeles as a college graduate trying to decide what to be when I grew up, I've wanted to be a part of housing in Los Angeles. The moment I got
Arrived from where?
From Texas.
Okay.
I moved here from Texas, and I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I knew I wanted to be a public service, and I walked into the city and saw the homeless population in a way that I had never seen it before in my life, coming from somewhere else. And from that very moment on, I knew that whatever public service I did, it would have to be about making sure that there were fewer homeless people and homes for more people. And I've been so fortunate in my career to be able to do that. Whether that's by creating affordable housing or by working with families experiencing domestic violence and finding a place for them to stay that's safe. And I'm honored to be considered for the position, and I know that I can be a fair and balanced adjudicator on that commission. I understand that's the position. In law school, I was trained not just to be an advocate, but also to see both sides of an issue and to be able to adjudicate an issue and simply apply the facts to the law. And I will be able to do that on this commission, as I did as a member of the Rent Stabilization Commission for the City of West Hollywood many years ago. Thank you.
Okay. Obviously, you have impressed the members of this council, and we are prepared to vote, Mr. Cedillo, so good job on your behalf as well. Madam Clerk, could you open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote?
14 ayes.
Congratulations. You've been approved.
Much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we did, in fact, put general public comment at the beginning of the agenda. It's often and usually we take it at the end. So since it was placed on the agenda as such, we're going to go ahead and go into general public comment, if we could. Ruth Sarnoff, followed by Sid Mazdonian, Darlene Atkins, and then Adam Rice. Good morning.
Good morning, Council. My dad had a funny thing that he thought was a funny joke, and it was a story about a man, and he was asking his pastor, he said, how do you come up with such a good sermon every week? And he said, well, he says, first I tell him what I'm going to tell him, and then I tell him, and then I tell him what I told him. And so I'm going to do that with you today because I've got exactly 1 minute and 28 seconds. I want to refer you to today's LA Times article, Corporate Welfare is Alive and Well at a Mall Near You. And it's about the Westville actions that you took recently. And I think what I'm pleading with you right now, I think that this is the size of things that you vote on here. It first came to the mayor on the 1st. It came to the council on the 7th. And that was 1 week ago. And you're voting on stuff today. And I don't think you're voting on things that you've read. And I think that is unfortunate. You can't read everything. It's impossible. But we need to slow down certain things. And when there is part of a proposal out there, we should have the information on that, even if we're waiting for state financing. I was at Housing Committee this morning, and they said, well, we don't get information from the state soon enough, and so forth. This didn't get written in the last week. This is all of the bond indebtedness, tax-exempt bonds on stuff that's for low-cost housing that's going to be market value housing down the line. And people ought to know the exact information on that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Darlene?
Hello,
Good morning.
Good morning. I have a business in CD10, Councilman President Herb Weston's office, and I'm here because we're having a huge gang feud, and I have a gang prevention and gang intervention program that goes on, and next door to me is a well-known drug and gang hangout. And I'm afraid to open the doors of my business because of the retaliation in regards to the gang feud that's going on. I have contacted everyone in my district, my chief. Over there, I've contacted the lead officer, and I'm asking for to step up in some patrol. And what can the city do for me to work with me in regards to this program? I mean, in regards to this problem that I'm having. In regards to my business and the youth in the community, we have had over 6 deaths in regards to this gang feud over the summer. So I would like to know if the city can step up some patrol, protect our youth. Our schools just got back in, and the kids are afraid to even come to my place of business, which provides services for them.
Great. And if you could step to the side when you're done, we've got somebody who here from staff is going to work with you, meet with you on that. That'd be great. Sid? Morning.
Good morning, council members. I apologize for being here again for the 6th time, but it's only got 2 minutes for me to discuss my issues, and I hope that I will make a difference. I urge the council members, the reason that I'm showing up this 2 weeks consecutively and using up this 2 minutes to convey some messages from those 11 merchants, because they do have a dire straits situation. Especially what I urge the council and Mr. Huizar's office, which they've been very kind to me so far trying to resolve this issue, at least to start to resolve it, is that there's a technical issues that the street services has an order or a direction from the city council that they must do what they have to do based on the guidelines of the ADA rules. But even though that we're trying to resolve this issue within that alley, there has to be some kind of a retrieve. There is a concept which it is included in the historic core, which will be implemented soon, which is called the dress rehearsal, which I think it is the same opinion that I had from the beginning by having an imaginary blue line to be drawn in that alley temporarily to give a cover to the street services, not to come all the time to harass and remove tables and chairs and making life miserable. Once they do the damage of reversing this and having those tourists and the customers go away, they won't be back. And even the good, honorable people here that mean well and try to reverse this and do it right later on, which is, I'm hoping, within a month or 2 or 3, the damage will be done. So I urge that some kind of a communication can go through to Mr. Navarro, to Mr. Salcido, which are the administrative executive branch of it, for it to trickle down to Mr. Harris to say, please, please, under this guidelines, let's give a temporary retrieve because we are talking to one another, and I would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. Adam Rice? Followed by John Walsh.
Good morning, councilmen and
good morning.
Not enough ladies. My name is Adam Rice. I'm with the Los Angeles Anti-Eviction Campaign. We are a human rights organization dedicated to fostering a culture of self-defense against exploitation of poor and working class communities. I originally came here today to speak to you of Jordan Downs. However, we have residents of Jordan Downs here who would like to have their voices be heard. Look, the main complaint from a few of those residents is that what is the point of speaking to City Council if you are not listening to what we are saying when we are at the microphone? Look, you have the same moron. See, I'm from Chicago. And in this city, my new city, hired the same moron who destroyed our public housing right now to do the same exact thing to places like Jordan Downs. If you have 70% of a community that is unemployed, and you have 700 units, that entire community, that are low income and extremely low income, and you put forth a plan to privatize this and have only 296 units left that are for low income and extremely low income. Here is a simple question, and it's basic logic. Where are the rest of those people supposed to go? They are supposed to go, apparently, into our homeless population, which last year had a record increase of 17%. Most of them children and senior citizens.
Great, thank you very much. John Walsh, followed by Arnold Sachs. John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org in protest for Crazy Socks Days. I mean, we have the blood of Senora Gruppione still staining the boardwalk. And you're holding Crazy Socks Day? Well, here are my shoes, and my socks are sane, and my feet are bare. And I am in mourning for Senora Gruppione. And I'm in mourning for any tourist that comes to the city and puts your life on the line. Stay away from Los Angeles.
If you could take your shoes off the podium, Mr. Walsh.
This, incidentally...
And your socks. If you could take your shoes and socks off the podium. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can hold on to them.
See, you think my socks are filthy? See what... I mean, you know, I'm a Jew, too. And I want you to know that Zuma Dog, you're going to arrest me for putting my socks here? You're selling socks. Those are good socks. Those are a Jew's socks. A Jew! And don't forget, your name is Englander and my name is Walsh, but they're both Jews.
Okay, so if you're going to start addressing any direct members,
now, under the public comment
we're going to ask you to just keep it down and not yell at the council.
Look,
thank you.
Zuma Dog won a decision.
That's your...
I can be insolent. I can be insulting. This is what the federal court said. But you can't throw me out and you can't heckle me. You know that decision was made. And you're acting, you know, as if it isn't. Today is Crazy Socks Day. Yesterday was Weeza's Crazy Sex Day. I want to know how many abortions have been paid for by the city that involved members of your staff. And I'm telling you right now, go to Zuma Dog's decision, read everything on my website, and I'll put my damn socks any place I want. They're clean, not dirty like you. HollywoodHighlands.org for the truth. I'm a Jew.
Arnold Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. Congratulations on the Trade Tourism Committee meeting yesterday. I left as soon as Gina Marie Lindsay mentioned that in 2008 they had a $160 million general plan that was developed without an engine, but also without any kind of transportation part of it that would include a light rail, a $160 million plan, no light rail to the airport. That's a real general plan. And then there was a story actually in the newspaper about this Boulevard 6200 that's being built on Hollywood Boulevard, just down the street from the Millennium that you just approved. And what was interesting that the people came in here and talked about how they didn't want the Millennium built, but none of them really talked about this project that was approved according to the story in 2007. But what's really important in this story is right below, if you look at this picture that's in the LA Times, right below the Millennium and the line is this street called Hollywood Boulevard. And on Hollywood Boulevard, I'm pretty sure, not on Hollywood Boulevard, but under Hollywood Boulevard, there's a subway. So if there's a subway there, and not a sandwich shop, you would think that an earthquake fault test study, something, would have been done for the subway. And yet you have all these stories about an earthquake fault. Well, maybe it's a non-fault, no fault. Who knows? Maybe they just built the subway because you have a problem in Beverly Hills with MTA. They're suing because they changed this line, because it runs by a fault. Well, if you can build the subway in Hollywood by an earthquake fault, then you certainly would be able to build the subway line in Beverly Hills by an earthquake fault and forget the lawsuit. What's going on with the City Council and MTA? Thanks for the answers, and go to John Walsh to find out that answer.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Herman.
Mr. Herman.
Okay, Mr. Herman, last call. Your time's already starting.
Normally we talk when we're at the podium, normally. But again, when individuals are discriminated at a podium, when Mr. Walsh has his First Amendment rights to speak and place his items here, it's great. We have that right. But today I speak to you in a tone about the misconduct, the inappropriateness for these allegations that are hitting City Hall today, and that is sexual harassment. It's not the first time. It's not the last time. But today, I'm sure this council will produce a comprehensive investigation without discrimination towards Ms. Godoy. Ms. Godoy is a wonderful person. I work with her personally in Boyle Heights, Lincoln Heights, El Sereno. So how dare we ignore sexual harassment? It's intrusive enough that we have to tell people our stories. But if this person's worked all along with Mr. I won't say names because I have ethics as much as many of you do here today. Ethically, we are responsible. And as Mr. Again, I can't say the name. It's repulsive. Repulsive. If you listen to the news, Filner, Wiener, how much more do you want? What about Andrew Adelman. Andrew Adelman, the top dog of building and safety, drugging a woman, resigns, walks away happily ever after. Let's make unprecedented accountability today and now and forever. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mello, Rochelle Desire, or Rachel Desiree, one of the two. Kingdom of Warriors Foundation. Not here anymore? Okay. Henry Marine? Oh, she here? Okay, come on up. I'm sorry. Good morning.
Morning. Morning, Council. Oh, it's loud. I'm here today on behalf of the inner city youths. Los Angeles is the second largest city, #1 homelessness, #1 gang activity, and #1 in arrest. We should be #1 in giving these children in Compton, Watts, East LA, Boyle Heights, MacArthur Park, Inglewood, and South Central a chance to become actors, singers, and dancers. But when you ask a kid in these areas, what do you want to be when you grow up? They say, I want to be a basketball player, football player, a rapper, or even a gangster. But if you ask a kid in Hollywood and Beverly Hills, the entertainment capital of the world, what do you want to be when you grow up? They say, I want to be an esthetician, a doctor, or a lawyer. Why can a kid from Watts take over Columbia? Why can a kid from Compton take over Warner Brothers? Overall, it is a war zone out there. And trying to contact my district councilman, Jose Huizar, has been a joke. He has not responded to any of the emails, and I've spoken to Miguel Vargas on several occasions. I'm currently going through housing myself. I'm going through an issue where I've been assaulted, and what the city attorney says and what Ms. Martinez tells me is that there's no funding, so you just have to live where you are. I cannot help these children if I'm myself going through something. And the disconnection with the city and the county, with the people, has been so disgusting that I choose to ask for an employment as an advisor between the people and the council. I have here a sponsorship package of performing arts rehabilitation for these youths. Instead of overcrowding the jails and building a new facility where you spend $300 million every year and locking these kids up, you don't even give them a resource center for them to do anything. So when they come out of school, they have no choice but to join gangs. And we have a budget enough to lock them up, so we need a budget to give them an alternative to do something different than join gangs. Kids are not born bad. We need to help them. Therefore,
right.
I have.
Thank you. If you want to submit anything in writing, but thank you for that was your time. So we've got one more speaker. Henry Marine, please. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, you could just hand all those documents over to him, to the Sergeant at Arms. If you can free up the podium as well. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Henry? If you've submitted a public comment card after we already started public comment, this will conclude public comment. We're actually over the time on public comment, but you did submit one before we started, Henry, so go ahead. But for those others who've just ran one up, we'll go ahead and note that you did submit one for the file. But Henry, go ahead, please.
Yes, last week the Tier 2 members of the council discovered how the past members of this council and the HACLA board sheltered money for the benefit of city employees and managed to cover it up for the last 22 years. Now, this money is sitting in union bank accounts and city bank accounts, and it's popping up every now and then as deferred Davis-Bacon Act money, federal funds that were earmarked for construction work or some other road work or whatever, and now you're discovering it and thinking it's new money. It wasn't lost. You sheltered it. It shows you. You sheltered 10% of every dollar got paid, taken home as payroll for workers in L.A. Now, you can be infamous or famous. All you got to do is recover this money, you'll be famous. If you continue on, you're going to be infamous like Martin Ludlow. He showed how easy it is to take money of public employees and use it at will ever since these MOUs showed that the union and city officials could use the money of city employees or HACLA employees at will. So, and even Mr. Dion, he informed you that taking money without providing benefits for people is illegal. So what's your problem? What part of illegal don't you understand? LAMDRA or ELMERTA, Labor Managed Reporting Disclosure Act, requires you to account for money that you take from the pay of employees. George Meany says the money of public employees cannot be unionized and used for the benefit of non-public employees.
Thank you very much. That'll conclude public comment. We'll go ahead and take item 13 next, Madam Clerk. The item, the amendment or the document has been circulated, and we've already concluded public comment on item 13. So we'll go ahead and take that item up now if any members wish to speak. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, where does that take us?
And pardon me, sir, Mr. President, there was a request previously from a member to send that item forthwith.
Yes, without objection.
And that's the Housing Committee report that was just adopted.
Fantastic. Excellent. Thank you very much. Where does that take us?
That brings us to item 26, called Special for Cards.
Okay. Thank you very much. John Walsh. And there's a card here that just says constituent, which is not filled out. There's no name properly, so we'll reject that one. For the record, John Walsh.
Time's up, 0. John Walsh at HollywoodHighlands.org. Take a look at what's up there now. This is REAP. As we've said before, this is removing various properties from the REAP account, so these people will no longer have to pay directly to the city. We're 100% in favor of REAP, and I'll keep my Jew socks off your Christian table.
Great, thank you very much. Seeing no other cards on this item, no speakers in the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Next item, please.
Mr. President, that brings us to item 31.
31 for cards?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 31, John Walsh. Still wish to speak?
This is my third minute on the assigned public comment. This is an important issue. This concerns Wesson and Krikorian trying to suddenly, Wendy, when she was running the controller's office, was on budget. Now suddenly you got a new guy in there and he says there's not enough money to run it, give me another $500,000. So you're throwing another $500,000 at the controller's office. I don't see Mr. Galperin up here. You're just going to hand them the money because you think you're going to be bailed out by the street repair bond, so you're going on a wild spending spree, transfer an amount of $500,000 unencumbered from various accounts not mentioned, what counts, to the controller's office, where, of course, it will go to the Democratic Party. HollywoodHighlands.org. Take a look what's up there.
Okay, John, stay right there. We're just going to go ahead and you've got additional cards. On items 31, 27, 36, and 37. You've got 2 more minutes left on the two are in special. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hold the 2 for the special.
36 and 37 are from a different meeting. We get 5 minutes per meeting. And this is only my, it seems to be jammed. I got 2 more minutes. And not that I will need all the time. Oh, excuse me, I put my socks there, my ugly Jew socks on your table, and they're not crazy. HollywoodHighlands.org, and on 31 and 33, which is, if you're following at home, this is, we did 31, just on 33. This concerns Congregation Etz Chaim, and your vicious attack on this congregation. They want to have... They are in a neighborhood on the boulevard, on Highland. They make no noise, and this city has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to stop this Jewish congregation from holding a prayer meeting in this building. You have been going on this for what? How many years? Vicious, vile,
Not sure. I'm sorry. If you could speak to the item, and I'm sorry, you're disrupting the meeting. If you're going to yell at the meeting, it's going to be disruptive. So if we could,
how am I disrupting the meeting?
If we could,
City Attorney, how did I
not yell? You can't ask the City Attorney for opinions, but you could ask me.
Anti-Semites. City Attorney, please. How did I disrupt the meeting?
He's done. Your time is done. So thank you very much. That concludes your time on the regular scheduled meeting. And that'll take us to item 31. Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir. And for item 31, there is also a Budget and Finance Committee report that has been circulated and is before Council for consideration.
Okay. With consideration on that report, seeing no members on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll. Close the roll. And tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay. Where does that take us?
Mr. President, that takes us to item 27, called Special for Cards.
27 is before us for cards. 27. We do not have any more cards on that. So the cards have already been... It was John Walsh. So we've already gone through that. We'll go ahead and open the roll on 27. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Next item, please.
And item 30, called Special for Cards.
I don't believe there are any additional cards on that. We've already concluded public comment on 30. So we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll. Wait, we do have, no, we don't have any on 30. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
We'll go ahead and send that forthwith without objection as well. 30. Next item, please.
Mr. President, that brings us to item 25, and if I may, there is amending motion 25A, Buscaino-Huizar, that has been distributed and is now before Council for its consideration.
Oh, yes. Hello. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take items 25. We've got cards. Larry Goins, John Walsh.
Yeah. No, let me go first. If I can, Mr. President.
You want to speak first?
Yes, sir,
okay, please.
Thank
yes,
you.
Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, it's a great day for Watts, specifically in the Jordan Downs housing development. Today marks the end of a multi-year planning effort to lay out a comprehensive plan for the redevelopment of Jordan Downs housing development. Originally constructed to support the war effort, the housing complex is vast, but it's in terrible shape. In fact, the Housing Authority's entire public housing portfolio, Jordan Downs was determined to have the most significant challenges to traditional rehab and repair. The Jordan Downs housing development was targeted for redevelopment, and over the course of the last 4 years, working with the community of residents and local stakeholders, the Housing Authority and the Planning Department have worked to design a master plan for a safe, green, walkable, transit-oriented neighborhood. The plan is before us today, colleagues. Our development partners, Bridges Housing and the Michaels Group, are poised to solicit funding from the state of California through its Prop 1C program and the federal government's through HUD Choice Neighborhood Initiative, CNI, to provide the critical catalytic funding that will begin the redevelopment process. Submission deadlines for these funding sources are days away. This is a long-range neighborhood development plan. It will be implemented in phases as the market demand for housing in Watts improves over the next decade or so. The initial critical phases include a one-to-one replacement of existing public housing units, the construction of Century Boulevard, and the development of neighborhoods serving retail, something that we've been thirsting for in Watts. Key aspects of the plan include development capacity of up to 1,100 additional housing units, a new network of public streets that knits the neighborhood together with the existing street grid, a central park, a community center, bicycle facilities, and additional local retail. Again, something that Watts has been thirsting for years. In all, this $1 billion investment in Watts, I repeat, this $1 billion investment in Watts is projected to add almost $1 million in year tax revenue, create 200 needed permanent jobs in Watts through the commercial retail uses, and create almost 6,400 full-time equivalent jobs during the construction phase of this project. And not only jobs, but these are jobs for our residents in Watts. I'd like to call up planning, City Attorney Office to explain changes to the substitute ordinance that's before this council. If I can have staff come forward. Thank you very much for your hard work and moving this project forward. Delay is not an option, colleagues, on this Watts Jordan Downs housing development.
Good morning, council members. Craig Weber, City Planning staff. Thank you for the overview of the project. I will just reserve my remarks for more of the technical issues that are before you this morning. The approval of the Jordan Downs specific plan has been and will be before the council in layers. Back in April, you may recall that this body approved a general plan amendment to redesignate several streets within the planning area. Today, what is before the council is adoption of an ordinance to enable the Jordan Downs Urban Village specific plan itself. In your previous meeting in April, you instructed the city attorney to write up the final ordinance for form and legality, and so that's the document that's before you this morning. Within that document are also 6 technical corrections that are somewhat late in the game, but that are supported by a motion from Councilman Buscaino. Those technical corrections are minor in scope, but we feel that they are necessary to ensure a seamless implementation of the specific plan. Your action today will also include recertification of the project's environmental impact report, and then general plan amendments and zone changes, which are necessary for the final build-out of the project, will be before this body early next week.
And this is Ed Young, Deputy City Attorney. That's correct. We had some last-minute changes, but I think at this point, item number 25 is ready to go.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Craig and Ed, for your clarification on the substitute ordinance. With that, colleagues, I ask for your aye vote on this very important, game-changing, and life-affirming project in our Watts community. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Great. Thank you very much. We'll go to the speaker cards. Seeing no members on the queue. John Walsh is out of time, but we'll note it for the file. Larry, call you first. Goins, followed by Kevin Rodine. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. President, or Mr. Vice President. Members, I represent the Housing Authority. I'm just going to take a second here because the distinguished council member did such a wonderful job talking about this project. I've been living it along with John King for the last 4.5, almost 5 years. We're so excited about this day. We support it completely. It's a great thing for the residents. It's a great thing for the community and for Watts in general. Again, we really appreciate your support, and we're just excited about this day.
Great. Thank you very much. Kevin, come on up.
Good morning, council members. My name is Kevin Roden from the Michaels Development Company. Along with Bridge Housing, we are the master developer that was hired by the Housing Authority to implement the specific plan at Jordan Downs. Apologies for my appearance. I came from a night in the emergency room, but I had to be here for this. This is, I have to offer my emphatic support for this. We have spent the last year vetting this specific plan, vetting the work that the Housing Authority did, and we have been completely won over by the enthusiasm of the residents, by the complexity and the depth and the accuracy of the specific plan to address the critical needs at Jordan Downs. We believe in Jordan Downs. We believe in Watts. I'm very excited today to notice that we have residents here in support to show their support for this plan. So we're all in. So, and these residents have really inspired us, and I'm really excited to be here today representing their wishes for a new community. So let's get to work. Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you very much. Socorro, followed by Arturo. Socorro Diaz.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Socorro Diaz, and I'm a resident at the Jordan Downs. And we had the honor of having Mr. Vizcaino there with us. And I'm just really happy and thrilled to be here today just to plead that you guys approve this, because we've been waiting for this change for a long time. Our community already started working on the human capital. We're already having the families growing, and we have some people already doing the GED at Shields for Family at the community center there. So we have people graduating, taking job trainings, and getting prepared for this big change. When people move into a community, they always want to build a paradise, and I think this is our opportunity to have our community build into a paradise. But I think it's been dragged a long time, and we've been promised many things, but I think it's time to take a next step forward and approve this and get our utopia built for us and have just a new future for our children and our grandchildren and the next generations to come. And I hope that this gets approved today and we get our next step move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our final speaker, Arturo Ibarra. Arturo. As Arturo's making his way up here, Arnold Sachs, we did have a card on 30 after all. It was misfiled. And so if you would like to still speak on 30, we can reconsider that item. Is Arnold in the room? He's not here. So if we can note for the file that we actually gave him the ability to speak on item 30, we would reconsider the item if he so chose to speak. He's not in the chambers. He's already left. So we'll go ahead and note that. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President, honorable council members. My name is Arturo Ibarra. I'm the director of the Watts Century Latino Organization, an agency that has served South Los Angeles and Watts for the last 23 years. I'm here to respectfully encourage this council to fully support the Jordan Downs Village specific plan because this project will have a very heavy positive impact in our community as a whole. Among those benefits, as it have said, will bring or will dedicate 30% of the construction labor hours to hire local folks, and also to hire 10% of those hard-to-hire individuals. We have been involved in this process since the very beginning, and we support it fully because it has been a transparent and inclusive process. So we need your support for a project which will bring many benefits and will be a process that will produce a domino effect in the whole community and its surrounding neighborhood. So thank you very much.
Great. That was the last speaker card. Thank you very much. Mr. Huizar, you're on the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I just wanted to congratulate Councilman Buscaino for shepherding this through. This is a project that the host city can be proud of. It's a great example of how we could repurpose public housing into newer housing for our local residents. And I want to congratulate the Watts community and the Housing Authority as well as the Planning Department. This type of mixed-use, mixed-income, transit-oriented project is something that shows what can be done when we put our attention into an area that has been neglected for a very long time. And indeed, a lot of our public housing projects have been neglected for a very long time. And when we built those structures way back decades ago, it may have worked then, but it definitely doesn't work today. And we've got to think about how we repurpose more of these public housing projects because it improves public safety, it improves the quality of life, and overall, as the woman mentioned, human capital, opportunity. So I know a lot of this depends upon funding that is available from the federal government, but working with the Housing Authority and others, we hope that we can continue to look at other public housing projects to make more of these. And again, congratulations, Councilmember Buscaino. Great job.
Just to close.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Buscaino to close.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Huizar, for your kind words and your leadership on Plum to see this come to fruition. And I want to thank the community members from Watts who came to speak and a couple other key folks who made this possible. I see John King. John King, when I first was elected in this office, I stayed the night at Watts, and John introduced me to a number of the residents there and allowed me to get to know each other and let them know my commitment for the development. So John, thank you for your love, your compassion. You do amazing work at HACLA, and the community just loves you. Thank you very much, Mr. Guthrie, and one of my team players, Allison Becker, my planning director. Thank you, Allison. We love you for your commitment to see this through. So, colleagues, this is a huge vote for Watts, and I, again, respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. We actually have another speaker, Mr. Price.
I too want to just applaud Councilman Buscaino and the community for this exciting project. I think it's a significant collaboration between housing, planning, and the community. There are 2 housing projects in my district, and so we're watching very anxiously to see how successful this project can be. We know that it will be. And Councilman Huizar referenced the fact that there's some large federal money in this project that no guarantee it's going to be available again. And so it's important that we take advantage of this, but also figure out how we can leverage limited resources in ways to take advantage of development opportunities, especially along the transit lines. And so I just applaud the project, look forward to working with all parties and making it a success.
You wish to close again, or are you solid with your last close? All right.
Excited.
With that, we'll go ahead and council members open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Congratulations. Fantastic. Forthwith. Absolutely. Thank you. I was going to give Mr. Walsh another opportunity on item 30. We can let the record note that he did fill out, or Arnold Sachs, I'm sorry, on item 30. He's still not here. So we'll go ahead and close that off.
Mr. President, would you like to recess the regular meeting and go into the special?
Yes, please. We'll go ahead and recess the regular and go into the special meeting for
Very
parts.
good.
Where does that take us?
Very good, sir. If I may call the roll, Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 14 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Great. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and take the first item.
Item 34 is an item for which public hearing has been held.
Okay, on item 34, Mr. Blumenfield. Okay, just an announcement. Okay, we'll just go ahead and.
I just wanted to acknowledge 2 very special guests who have joined us, my in-laws, Michael McLeod and Whitney Burnett, for being here. They're here from the East Coast, and they're watching us here in action. So I just want to give them a round of applause. Thank you for being here.
Great, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Great, thank you very much. Next item, please. Yeah, Mr.
Forthwith?
Forthwith. We'll go ahead without objection. That'll be the order.
Very good, sir. For items 35 through 37, there are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open the roll for consideration on that item. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That item is now before us.
They are items 35 through 37. We have cards on all three items, sir.
Okay, 35, John Walsh, followed by Arnold Sachs.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This concerns the airport peace officers. Notice we don't have tourists being shot dead out at the airport because we have a good peace officer unit and they deserve every dime they get. Tourists get killed on the boardwalk where you're in charge of the LAPD is in charge. This concerns an implementing of an ordinance for the conditions of the bargaining unit. Yes, they are a member of a union, and they receive strength from their union. So what we have here, and incidentally, we did have a chance on the ballot to get rid of the peace officers unit. So, remember, the LAPD wanted to swallow them, and it failed miserably. With you folks out there, let's keep the airport police happy. Tourists, you don't have to worry about being killed at the airport here in LA. It's just on the streets of LA.
Thank you very much. Arnold Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. And I'd like to protest the fact that I have to come up here and speak after that chucklehead is walking around barefoot. There should be some kind of antiseptic or something to be able to clean this place up.
Probably more than antiseptic,
yeah,
yes.
oh, excuse me?
No, keep going. Yes.
No. I'm just saying. My question actually refers to, since this is the airport police unit, it's separate from LAPD. It's actually the overall operations of LAWA. The fact that it is a proprietary department, not under the auspices of the City Council, and the direction that it takes seems to be that it's kind of like its own principality, that it has no answerable quotient. There's nobody it answers to. It can take recommendations. It can say blow it out the window. It's self-guiding in that sense. And so these decisions regarding the airport police officers really don't make any sense in the first place, because in and of itself, if LAWA is its own entity and these police officers are not under the auspices of LAPD, then they would take directions from the airport, and the City Council and the public be damned.
Great, thank you very much. Seeing no members on the queue, go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, next item, please.
You're right. Mr. President, that brings us to item 36.
Okay, if we can ask the City Attorney to weigh in on item 36.
Yes, item 36, the incorrect general plan amendment was listed on the agenda, and so this matter should be continued, and I believe it's for Tuesday. And if the new agenda description can reflect that it's the Southeast Los Angeles Community Plan Amendment pursuant to the General Plan Amendment map as referenced in Planning Department transmittal dated August 8th, 2013.
That'll be the order. And we'll go ahead and continue that with a correction for the next agenda. Next item,
And
please.
Mr. President, for clarification, that is Tuesday, August 20.
Correct. Okay, Tuesday, August 20th.
Very good. That brings us to item 37, called Special for Cards.
Okay. John Walsh, item 37.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. And relative to removing, this concerns removing various properties from REAP. It was an extra property, that's why. It's not on the regular, someone screwed up. It wasn't on the regular agenda, and therefore they had to put it on this agenda, 6321 South 111th Street. Fine, we're 100% in favor of it. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Great, thank you very much. And if you could please, as a request, put on your shoes and socks. Thank you very much. That'll go ahead and, there's no speakers on the queue. We'll go ahead and open the roll on that item, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That should conclude the special. Do we have any other items?
That concludes the special. Mr. President, do you wish to adjourn the special meeting and return to the regular?
So be it. That'll be the order. We'll go ahead and open up the regular agenda, and I believe we've already concluded public comment. It takes us to the closed session items.
Mr. President, the closed session matters have
been resolved. Great.
Been moved. The council has motions for posting and referral.
Those will be posted and referred.
The desk is clear.
Great. Thank you. Any announcements, members? Any announcements? Seeing none. Adjourning motions. If we can all rise for adjourning motions. Any adjourning motions, colleagues? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Have a great afternoon and be safe out there. Oh, one more item from the city attorney. He's got a...
I just have to make one statement.
announcement.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the delay. Notwithstanding an apparent or potential conflict on the part of Mr. Bonin, because action and deliberation on agenda items 17 and 18 was necessary, and because Mr. Bonin was not present, council was authorized by applicable law to proceed with its consideration of those items.
Great. Thank you very much. We are adjourned. Thank you.